y'all. Welcome to another episode of Boss Up and Glow Up with Lexi Sample. This is your favorite space for healing, high standards, leveling the fuck up, and honesty. We talk real shit here, and I'm here to help you because we all have situations where we just don't know what to do. We don't know where to turn. So that's why you're here. Hello, I'm a therapist now, y'all. Oh my gosh, isn't that crazy? I've been in school for ever and I'm finally a therapist. So I feel like I'm qualified to do this and talk to you. Even though I love doing it, I know I'm passionate about it, but getting a job as a therapist, I'm like, wow, like I can really help you with your mental health. And today's episode, we're going to talk about something that's going to hit home for a lot of us. And we don't really think about it all that often. And it's what your triggers are trying to tell you. You know, when something little, minuscule, small happens and it just sets you off. Like, for example, if someone you really like leaves you on red, they're probably just busy, but you're like, oh my God, like they don't like me. They don't want to talk to me. They don't care about me. And that was a trigger for you. That really stressed you out. That really made you upset. But there's a message behind that. So we need to figure out what that message was trying to signal to us, because sometimes we have a friend that will cancel plans because they either had to work, they had a family matter, something came up. You know, we all have busy lives, we all have things that come up all the time, but it makes you think sometimes, oh, do they not want to hang out with me? Are they just trying to think of an excuse to not hang out with me? And you maybe feel abandoned. And if you feel that way when a friend cancels on you, that's stemming from something else. That's probably coming from your childhood. And that is a trigger for you. And instead of judging this trigger, we need to think about it and figure out what is the message behind this trigger, because it is trying to tell you something. It's not just happening for no reason. There is a message behind it. So we're going to talk about how to figure out what that message is and how to go about that message. Before we dive in a little deeper, let's define what a trigger is first. A trigger is an emotional reaction that feels way bigger than it actually is. It's your body saying, hey, this is reminding me of a moment or a time where I didn't feel safe, I didn't feel seen, I didn't feel secure. It's just something that makes you think of something else. It might not necessarily be what just happened, but it's making your mind remember something. And triggers aren't random. They're not just gonna happen just because. There's always something behind it. And they're just little breadcrumbs leading us to think bigger and that they still need love. They're about healing and validation. They're not weaknesses at all. They're messengers. Now, I wanna tell you about a trigger that I had and I had to work through. And it took a lot of therapy, it took a lot of reading, it took a lot of thinking to figure out what that was coming from. So I had attachment issues in relationships, and it all came from something. We'll get to it in a minute. But if, let's say, I'm talking to a guy or I'm in a relationship and they don't want to hang out with me because they're busy, it makes me feel like, oh, they don't want to see me. They don't actually like me. They don't actually care about me. And it makes me overthink and freak out. And it's like, why am I thinking like this? Like, everyone has lives, everyone has jobs, they have families, they have so many things. But for some reason, that bothered me a little bit. It made me think way too much. It made me feel like I wasn't enough. And then it made me look back on it and I'm like, how was my childhood? And I talk about this all the time in like little pieces, but my father was not present in my life. He was for a little bit, but he was like, I don't even want to say he was present because he was just an abusive ass. But I think that's where those thoughts come from, because I never had that male figure in my life growing up. And when I get into these relationships and I'm talking to another male person, it makes me really freak out and it makes me crave their attention. It makes me want them to be around. It makes me do so many stupid things to try to keep them around just because deep down I knew I never had that male figure growing up. And as a little girl, that's kind of important. We kind of need that male figure in our lives. And I never had that. So I think that's why I react that way in relationships and I overthink and I just don't feel loved when my boyfriend doesn't want to hang out with me or something because he's busy. I don't even want to say he doesn't want to hang out with me. He can't hang out with me. And it just makes me sad. It's like, oh wow, like he doesn't like me. He's gonna break up with me. He's gonna leave me. He's gonna cheat on me. And that's another thing. Like, um, when I'm talking to someone, I haven't been in a relationship since my last one, but when they get busy, it makes me think, oh, they're gonna be with another girl, they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that. And it's coming from something else. It has nothing to do with that person because that person is completely different than the previous. And this person is a great person. They haven't done anything to make me think this way. But when they're telling me that they can't hang out because they have this going on, it's making me think, oh my God, they're gonna be with somebody else because in my last relationship, that's actually something that happened. He said he had his son's birthday party. Like, awesome, cool, spend time with your family, but then cheated on me and there was no birthday party. Like, things like that. So it triggers me when they say, oh, I have to do this with my family. It's like, do they actually have something to do with our family or are they gonna go do something else? So it's a trigger. It's not random. It's not me being crazy. It's not me. I mean, I guess it is me overthinking. I was gonna say it's not me overthinking because it's something is reminding me of something else. And that's what a trigger is pretty much. It is something that makes you overthink and it's sending you a message. And the message I think it was trying to tell me was be careful. Like your last relationship said he was going to a family birthday party, but they weren't. They were cheating on you. So be careful. And that's like, it's sending me a subliminal message in my mind when this has nothing to do with the new person. So we just need to be careful. We need to think about if it's a trigger or if it actually has something to do with the person because a lot of times it's a trigger. So we need to figure out how to maneuver it a little bit. And it took me a while to figure out how to maneuver it, but I think I got it down pat because now I'm figuring out what my triggers are and what they're trying to tell me. Y'all, I used to hate being ignored. I used to hate being left on red. It would always go through my head, did I do something wrong? Are they mad at me? Why don't they care about me? And it would just like make me spiral and it would affect my entire mood for the day. I'd be like, dang, like, why don't they care? And this is part of the issue. When I was a kid, I felt unseen, I felt unworthy. And if I'm ignored, it makes me feel like that because my father was not present in my life. Like, yes, he was abusive, but he also wasn't there. And I also remember actually when I was a kid, I knew my dad didn't care about me. I knew it because I got really smart at a young age. I'm not gonna lie. Not to toot my own horn, but I was a smart ass girl and I wanted his attention so bad. And I would act out all the time to try to get his attention, to try to make him see me. And that always ended in abuse. I would get beat, I would get kicked, I would get punched, like I would get hit with objects. And I thought that was his way of showing me that he cared what I was doing, he cared about me. And that's not how you show care. But as I got older, I realized that's why I acted like that. That was a trigger for me. That's why being ignored used to trigger me. It used to make me think, oh my God, I have to spaz, I have to act out. And this comes also from when I was in relationships and I would be ignored, I would freak out. I'd be like, why are you ignoring me? What are you doing? Blah, 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 blah. I'd freak out. And that is stemming from my childhood. When I was ignored, I would act out to get the attention I wanted or I thought I wanted, and I would get beat. And the truth is, this was not about the new person. It was about my dad. And it's crazy. I felt unsafe. I felt unseen. I felt like I wanted attention. And that was all inconsistent. And once I realized that, I stopped taking things so personally. I stopped blaming others for touching wounds that they didn't cause. They don't know my past. They don't know something they do is going to make me think of my childhood. They don't know these things. They don't know anything. And I started healing because I realized it's not that person's fault. You can't get mad at somebody because it's reminding you of something that happened in your past. You are enough. I was enough that whole entire time. I was deserving of love. I was deserving of care, and I never got that. So that's why if someone ignored me, I would spiral. But once I realized it was coming from not having a present father in my life, I started to heal. We touched on this a teeny bit, but there is definitely more to this than just childhood wounds. But I want to talk about where triggers come from, which I already talked about. Mine came from childhood wounds, childhood trauma, but it also could come from like unmet needs, unhealed trauma, any kind of trauma, anything that has happened to you. For example, I had a friend who was in the military, and anytime he hears fireworks, it makes him spiral because he's thinking of like gunshots from being in the military. So that is a trigger for them. Repeated relationship patterns. If someone is constantly dating people that are cheaters, for example, because their last partner cheated on them, they're going in the same pattern over and over and over. And that's going to cause a trigger. For example, you felt rejected as a kid. So now, anytime somebody doesn't choose you, even if it's a friendship, it's a relationship, someone left you for someone else, your inner child just freaks the fuck out. You had to prove your worth the whole time you were growing up. You had to fight for yourself. You had to over explain why you're good enough. And it caused you to people please. And these patterns don't make you broken. They're just showing you where you've been, and it's having a self-awareness. That's really important. You know what things are going on. You know this is coming from something else because it always is coming from something else. And a lot of it is childhood trauma. That's a huge one because a lot of us don't realize how much our childhood actually affects us. A lot of us think, oh, I was a kid, like it wasn't that serious, but it really makes you who you are today. I honestly, yes, being abused sucked. It sucked. But I'm grateful for it because it made me who I am today. It made me passionate about mental health. And I love preaching mental health to people now. I love helping others. And I truly don't think if I was not abused growing up, I wouldn't be this strong. I would not be this mentally strong. I wouldn't be able to preach good advice to people. I wouldn't be who I am if that didn't happen to me. I would have been a completely different girl. So, yes, it sucked. It was horrible, but I learned from it. I don't let that define me anymore. Yes, it's one of my triggers, but it doesn't define me. Growing up, I did let that define me a little bit. I would just have anger issues. Like I went to therapy. I was trying to manage my anger. I was just an angry little girl, but I allowed myself to heal. I became self-aware. I joined therapy and now I'm a freaking therapist. Like I would not be this girl if that didn't happen to me. Fun fact, I actually wanted to be a lawyer my whole life growing up. And that doesn't suit me. This suits me. Preaching my mental health, preaching my experiences because I have a lot of experiences to share, and that's where triggers come from. It can come from anything, but a lot of it is from your childhood or just unmet needs and relationship patterns. What are these triggers actually saying to you? Every trigger is a conversation that your inner self is trying to have with you. Now, let me give you a few examples. So, for example, a trigger, they didn't invite me. The wound is the fear of being excluded or forgotten. And the message it's trying to send you is, I need to feel like I matter. Sometimes you don't feel like you matter because someone didn't invite you. Have you ever had a group of friends and they all did something without you and that makes you feel like you don't matter? That sucks. You don't like that feeling. That's happened to me before when I was in middle school. I had a group of friends and they all did something. I forget the circumstance, but I do remember this happening. They all did something without me and I was like, damn, like they didn't invite me. I guess we're not friends. Like fuck them. Like that's the mindset that I went to. Another trigger is they didn't text me back. The wound is a fear of abandonment. And the message it's trying to send you is, I want consistent connection. I can relate to that one because I was abandoned as a kid. And if someone doesn't answer me, it makes me scared that they're going to abandon me and they don't want to be with me. But I crave that connection. I love human connection. And that's just a trigger for me. It scares me to not have human connection. And if people aren't answering me, it makes me feel like they don't care and they don't want me in their life. Another trigger, they criticize me. The wound is fear of not being good enough. I feel like we all can relate to this one. The message it's trying to send you is I need to believe in my worth without external validation from others. This is a huge one. So here's a little story for you. I have naturally red hair, which I don't know if you know this, but I'm a natural redhead. And growing up, I would get made fun of all the time. I would just get called ginger. They would be mean. Like they all made fun of my hair growing up. So I felt like I was ugly because I had red hair. My hair wasn't ugly. Those people talking about my hair were ugly. That is an ugly personality. You do not criticize people. I couldn't control my hair color growing up. And guess what? The second I turned 18, I dyed my hair black because I was like, I can't, I don't want to be called a ginger anymore. I don't like being called this. This is really hurting my feelings. I feel like I'm not worthy. People are being mean to me. And I didn't like that. So I changed myself to not be bullied because of my hair anymore. Like, I hated it. It was really upsetting. They would tell me I have no soul, like shit like that. And to this day, I still don't have red hair anymore, which I miss my red hair, but it's unfortunately hard to get it back because I dyed it so dark. But I mean, I do like my hair dark, but I like that my red is starting to peek through. But that's something that really upset me as a kid. It was I was getting bullied because I had red hair. Like looking back on it, I'm like, that is the dumbest thing to ever be upset about. But as a kid in middle school, I was like, oh my God, I'm so ugly. I hate it. I hate it. But looking back on it, I'm like, I would have snapped. Like if I had my red hair today and someone was like, you're a ginger, I'd be like, okay, and I'm hot. Like I would react like that instead of getting upset and just dyeing my hair. I was seeking validation from my peers because, I mean, in middle school, you do. And you can't control that. That's just what you do in middle school. And I let it affect me and I changed myself. And that's a trigger for me. Someone criticizing me, I think back to getting bullied for having red hair. But nowadays, I don't let that affect me. But before, like when people would make little comments about me, I'd be like, dang, like, I remember getting bullied so much for having a certain hair color, which is crazy. Like, why did I let that affect me? Your triggers are not the enemy. They're just unhealed parts of you that need love, that needs compassion, and that just needs healing. It's a work in progress. Your triggers are telling you that you need to heal. Now, how can we work with these triggers? There are so many different things on how we can work through these triggers without completely overreacting, without completely causing a scene. And one thing, I say this all the time, and you may think it sounds silly, but it works wonders. And it's just pause and breathe. Deep breathing is so good for you. I like box breathing. So you just like breathe in 4 seconds, breathe out 4 seconds, in 4 seconds, out 4 seconds. And then you're kind of calm. It may not get rid of the whole problem, but it might make you react differently. Rather than if something just happened to you and you're like, oh my God, I need to freak out. If you just take a moment and just breathe, breathe. Before reacting, ask yourself, what am I actually feeling right now? Why is this making me so upset? Think about it. Think of the reasoning behind it and just don't react like insanely. Name the wound. Go beneath the surface. Is it rejection? Is it control? Is it fear? There is something that's making you want to react about this. And you need to think about it before you completely freak out, you completely lose yourself. You need to give yourself what you need. Think, I am safe right now. I am loved. I don't need to earn anyone's love. I don't need to earn anyone's approval. You need to say these positive affirmations. You can also talk to your inner child. Be like, is this coming from something that happened to me in the past? Why am I upset about this? Literally imagine younger you. Say what you needed, say how you felt, say you didn't deserve that, you matter now. Talk to your inner self, your inner child. Have that conversation. I love talking to little Lexi because I'm like, wow, like little Lexi would be so fucking proud of today, Lexi. She really would. I am someone now who I would have looked up to in the past. I would have looked up to myself in the past. Yes. So, what I like to think of myself as my own big sister. I like to think, how would little Lexi feel about this? How would little Lexi react? And I like to talk to myself like that. It may sound a little cuckoo, but it helps. I feel like I am my own big sister. And another thing, I preach therapy and journaling all the time. Yes, therapy is expensive, so you don't have to go that route, but I'm telling you, it does help. Healing takes time. It's work. Honestly, healing is a full-time job. You need to put in the effort to yourself as if you were going to work. You need to put that effort in because healing takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of work. It's not an overnight thing. Like, I recommended therapy to one of my friends. She went to one therapy session, was like, I'm not better. I don't like it. Like, you went once. You didn't even dig into the problem. Like, they don't know anything about you yet. Like, you need to give it a fair chance and then you can tell me it doesn't work. But I don't want to hear it doesn't work if you didn't try it. But they have so many cheaper options of therapy. Honestly, go to ChatGPT. Like, we live in an age where a freaking robot can help us with our problems. Like, you don't have to pay $200 an hour for therapy. Like, you can go to ChatGPT and it'll help you, or just journal. Journaling your issues, talk about your problems to yourself. That helps. Healing is a process, healing's a journey. Do what you can. So, this is what I wanted you to take away from today. Triggers aren't setbacks, they're signals. Signals that say, there's a part of me that still needs love, that still needs compassion, that still needs care. Your body remembers what your mind forgot. Your emotions are teachers. And healing, it's not about never being triggered. It's about responding with grace and not fear. Don't be afraid of these triggers. Yes, it sounds scary, but just respond with grace and just be very careful with it. And healing is messy. Triggers are normal. You are not insane for having something that triggers you. I want to thank you so much for listening. If this episode spoke to you in any way, made you feel a little bit better about having these triggers, please give it a like, share it, post it on your story, do whatever. I love hearing your feedback. I love hearing what you took away from this episode. I love it. I want the feedback. So if you have any takeaways, you can either post it on your story, share the episode, send me a DM. I just want to help you and I want to hear what you took from this. So just remember, healing's messy. You're not broken. You're becoming. And I love you and I'm so proud of you because you just clicking on this episode is showing you want to get better. And I will see you next week for another chit chat on Boss Up and Glow Up. Bye.